Hi guys, this video I'm going to broaden it out because obviously we're heading down the route of passport bros, but I think there's a bigger picture there anyway. So 10 reasons to actually live abroad. One of the key ones for me is cultural immersion, because one of the things I find in the UK is a lot of the stuff's become sanitized, less family orientated, disconnected, money orientated. So the cultural immersion piece is important because you find whether it was whether it was in the Middle East, Asia, and even other parts of the world, I found that even in Spain, currently here in Spain, I find the culture is often more connected with families and relationships and friendships. That's why I like here in Spain. They spend a lot of money eating out. Socially, you normally eat out rather than go back to somebody's house. That's quite a common norm. But in the Philippines, if you're going to somebody's house, you turn up, you meet them. Maybe you went there uninvited and you were going there for something, I don't know, dropping something off. Culturally, people invite you to eat with them. If they're eating, they get you to join the table. Middle East, find sharing food is quite common. So there's a lot of norms out there that wouldn't normally sit in Western society, but they're often better, more accommodating, more social, more interactive, and then you'll also understand different perspectives as well, because often you're told a perspective in the UK. You're told a perspective. I mean, this whole woke movement and the demise of the white middle-aged guys that run corporations and stuff, that were really bad people, when the fact is we do a lot of sacrificing to keep the companies running. We're the nasty people that keep the wheels of commerce and keep people with the lights on, food on the table, it branches out. Whether people like it or not, that's just a reality. And we've got to change it. We've got to change it. Why? I mean, I'll give you my perspective on that bit. Is the reality is we've shifted where we're forcing two parents to work. So, from a family point of view, you've devalued the family unit. Because if both parents have to work, which means the kids are the lowest part of the food chain, because you're not earning twice as much for having two parents out there. In fact, you've actually just increased the number of people in the job market, but the quality of life has been reduced. So that'll be my first one. Next one would be personal growth. One of the big things you have outside of your personal environment. So, for example, you may be younger and got parents to rely on. You may be a trust fund kid, or you may have other things that keep you in a comfort zone. That sort of hinders your growth. I mean, it's a bit like UK. You have unemployment benefit. You'll have housing benefit. You have all this safety nanny state stuff. Where if you go outside this comfort zone, you're responsible for yourself. So you become more financially aware, in the sense of you start banking money for emergencies. You start thinking outside the box. You adapt to the environment. You may not be able to make the money the way you normally do. In the Philippines, a lot of jobs are restricted to where foreigners can't make it, and if you did do them, a lot of them don't pay enough. So you have to be adaptable. You have to learn to generate income out of thin air sometimes, and you have to move around to your environment. It's not so cut and dry. It's just like, I want a job, okay, got a job, okay. The job may not be there. You may have to generate a new income. I mean, myself, I built coin slot computer systems, like an internet cafe. I've owned an internet cafe. I've owned a call centre. I've worked online. I've taught English. You get so many different skills because you're adapting to the market. Which in the West you may be just stuck in your steady Eddie stuff, where you just go through the motions of your day-to-day job with very little progressive path, often where you've reached your peak in the sense of you've done your qualifications, you got into where you're working, and you just steadily go there. Where if you're having to adapt to the environment you're in, it's a constant. You know, vending machines may have worked, like I said, internet vending machines, that was working, what, a decade ago when I was doing it? But now we have peso Wi-Fi, where you actually pay for Wi-Fi. So, because the volume of people in the Philippines means that not everybody has a computer, but nearly everybody's got a phone, and everybody wants data. So you adapt to the market, and that's one of the things that you'll learn by traveling. Next one is global perspective. Global perspective is an interesting one because I used to find it frustrating when I was out in Asia with a lot of Americans that were newcomers because their media was so restricted. I've got to admit, UK media is just as bad now, or maybe I just see it more now. But reality is often not what we're told. There's often a single story in, like, news, for example. Because in reality, it's like Syria, when the conflicts were in Syria, still ongoing in Syria. There's only good and bad, but it's far more complex than that. There's lots of people like local militias protecting their areas. There's government forces. You've got people that are fighting from different political angles. It's more grey than bad good, but that's the dynamic of media. So you often don't see it, and you often don't hear the other perspectives. I find when traveling, you meet different people from different regions, different parts of the world, and their perspective can be completely different to yours because they're seeing it from their side. So it is important that you start to see that, because it's also like simple things like the Middle East, where you have countries having the weekends at different times. Oman's weekend is different to Saudi Arabia's, but it's not Saturday and Sunday the same as the West. Those things can make a difference when you're trying to do business and ringing people up when they're not there. You know, it's simple stuff, but at the same time, it's like touching somebody's hand, you know, for a handshake. Culturally, some places it's unacceptable. Other places, you'll find that somebody will want to hug you and whatever. It's interesting because you're open to new things in new parts of the world. You know, you're learning from everything around you. It's amazing. Can I say amazing? I'd say it probably is. You know, the fact is you're opening your mind to a lot more. Next thing is career opportunities. Living abroad, your perspective is wide open. You're also meeting a lot of people from different environments, different countries, different perspectives, different realities. You know, in the Philippines, I met some people that didn't have a lot of money. I'm just being polite. And then I met some seriously rich people at the same time. The point being is what has combined you and them together is the actual traveling. And it may be not relating to specifically just being in the country, but you may be specific to, I don't know, deep sea fishing. Could be scuba diving, could be snorkeling. The point being is the opportunities to meet other people enhances your ability to find something else, you know, because I've known a few people that have hit it off with some seriously wealthy people. That next thing is they're working for them. And it's not because they've got some super duper skills, it's because they become friends and they created a job for them. In the same way though, it's a bit like the stuff I was doing with the call center. It built on virtually nothing. It started from virtually nothing. I learned everything as we went, and it became quite a successful business. Is there something wrong with that? No. If anything, it makes you think. The opportunity is there, even long term. Even now, I can open the call center back up, and there'd be clients out there very, very quickly, because I think we market a little bit different than some of the others as well, because I have a fairly broad corporate background. But the facts remain, it's those skills from traveling and whatever that opened up some of these doors in the first place. Next skill, number 5, would be language acquisitions, because you learn new languages as you travel. You know, so like myself, I speak a bit of Spanish, German, French, Bisaya from the Philippines. The reality is you'll pick up bits of languages, but often you'll pick up the accents as well, which gives you a more accurate language. But at the same time, you will find that your network expands because you're speaking in local dialects and whatever, and a lot of people really like that. You know, in Spain, you know, if they catch me at 2 a.m, whatever, I may not speak Spanish simply because I'm tired. I just want to go home. You know, they may pull me over for something. I just want to get in and out. And sometimes, you know, you may get them go, oh, you should speak Spanish. It's like, yeah, I'm going home. I'm not. But the reality is, you expand your network. You know, you speak Spanish in Spain, it broadens your access to people. Because the other side of that is, if they don't speak English or aren't confident speaking English or don't like speaking English, when you speak in their own languages or dialect, it crosses a boundary of friendship, because it opens you up to a whole new conversation piece, because they latch on to that as well, and then suddenly people want to practice English with you. They want to become your friend. They want to introduce you to people, and it opens up a whole new environment, which gets me on to the point 6, which is the networking. The global networking is more important these days than it probably has ever been, because it's a bit like the connections I have in the Philippines. So I want to reopen my call center. I will utilize people I've got in the Philippines. I've got the buildings out there, I've got the computers there, it's the management side. In the same way, I'll use people in America to get me clients, because America is far more open to outsourcing than a lot of the corporate UK. Same with Australia. So your network enhancement's important. When you're meeting all these people, and like I said, you meet so many people from so many diverse parts of the world, that some of these people would spend a lot of time trying to find on LinkedIn to open up a relationship, to try and sell them something. But because you're, say, I don't know, a Palawan, in the right place at the right time for the surfing or the scuba diving or the snorkeling, you're in an environment where people are relaxed. You're not really talking business. You're just becoming friends. You're talking about something you're doing. You know, like for the actual sport, the event, whatever it is. And then later on, somebody may open up on a business like, "What do you do?" And then that's you in. That's your network opening. And you never know what direction that's going to go in. Never. Because I've got people from 20 years ago that I'll think of something and send something their way, or they'll send something to me, you know, business-wise, where you go, oh, I know a guy that can do that. And it's because you have a relationship that's built on serious trust. It's not in a corporate suit environment where everything's often fake or on the surface. You're in your shorts, scuba diving off the side of a banca, a small boat, and just in a space where you're not vulnerable, but you're in a comfort place. You're in a comfortable zone. You're not selling anything. You're not being sold to. You're just there enjoying it, and so are the other people. So that makes a very, very good environment for strong friendships and strong networking. Number 7 would be personal independence. One of the big problems we have today in society is that we're told everything. You know, you look at the politics now, it's gone woke, 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 woke. And there's a lot of discussion where it's people's thoughts rather than facts, but it's driven that way. And when you actually bring facts, you're sort of driven out. That's not right for society. But at the same time, like I say, like UK unemployment benefit, housing benefit, you're not in an environment that makes you independent. Being independent and self-sufficient is extremely important as a skill. I remember a friend of mine when I first went out to the Philippines, and I invited him over about a year later, and I said, you know, come out, and he's like, it's all right for you. You could jump out of a plane and find a parachute on the way down. That's not because I've got anything better than him. It's because I'm confident enough to work it out when I got there. This is why we have a house and everything in Spain. It's because you're going to make it happen. It's not a case of you're sitting there going, okay, I do my job, I can retire at 67 or whatever. It's like, no, that's not for me. I'm not doing that. I want, they go, oh yeah, but you pay all your money into your state pension. It's like, yeah, and I'll get so old, I won't be able to use it, and it's really not that much money anyway. What you're telling me is I need to generate my own wealth to give me full security and independence, that I'm not reliant on the state in any form or anyone else. And that's one of the true things of traveling, is that pure independence of pretty much everything, where you look after yourself, short term, long term, mid term. You take the responsibility, and as a person you will find you'll develop quite quickly, because the comfort zone's out there. You haven't got daddy and mummy sending you money and looking after you. If you have, you're doing it all wrong. It's about time you grew some and actually become independent and looked after yourself. It will set you up for the long term. Next one is point 8, adventure and exploration. Living in the Philippines, it was good to go to different islands. You know, even if you're going like to Negros, Palawan, Boracay, all the other islands, they're all a little bit different. Even like down to transportation, you know, the way they develop the motorbikes and sidecars can be different on different islands. But it's also the fact that having a motorbike, you can just get on it and just ride and just end up somewhere. It's freedom. And then obviously where the Philippines is positioned, you've got Malaysia, you've got Hong Kong, China, Japan. You've got a lot of places on your doorstep that are all outside your normal day to day, but they're fantastic places to visit and experience. That also opens you up to traveling elsewhere as well, because I mean myself, I've lived in Hong Kong, Germany, a bit of time in France, obviously been in the UK, Philippines, Oman, Qatar, Dubai, and right now we're looking at maybe going up to Germany again, because the kids want to experience some of Germany. But the fact is, it opens your eyes to perspective, because a lot of stuff, you know, people become localized. You know, you go, oh well, I've got everything here. You know, I can get in the car and I can drive down to, I don't know, 2 hours away. Ta-da, I'm on holiday. That's great, but doing it for 20 odd years, there's more to the world. You know, I do recommend trying other stuff outside your comfort zone. You know, going to Morocco, for example, completely different to if you've never been outside the UK. Wild environment in comparison. The other thing is point 9, interpersonal skills. This gets back to some of the bits I was saying earlier about understanding people from different cultures as well. I mean, I remember I was out in the Middle East relating to a big contract out there. And we had a guy come over from the UK, don't know why, but he did a presentation piece to the guys from the Arab side. I'm not going to say which company it is or anything like that, or which country we're in, but part of his little graphics was a star, which went down really well because the response from the Arab delegates was, "Is this some kind of joke?" Because obviously they took it as the Star of David, which, if you look into politics, doesn't go down well. It was one of those things where you had to smooth it over because of the issues this person had created. It wasn't major. They did see not the funny side, but where just shrugged it off as like, the guy doesn't know what he's doing. But cultural sensitivities are there, but also like not touching people's hands. Photographs can be a bit iffy. Even photographing ankles was a bit of a weird one. Same as not looking people in the eye is something that can be offensive in some cultures. But at the same time, like I say, you get the other side of that where people can be the complete opposite once you know them. A lot of it is to do with social distances. But the etiquette changes once you know each other. But it's also about the different parts in society, because some of the friendliest people I've met have been some of the poorest. And they go way out their way to befriend you. I know some people go, "Oh yeah, it's because they want money off you." No, a lot of it is because you took the time and effort to actually speak to them, whatever, where other people overlook them or see them as irrelevant. They're actually proud to have you as a friend. And that's what I'm saying, a lot of this is cultural. The same as when people go on about, how offended about this and what, and you're going, really? Because obviously the middle-aged white guys are a big problem. But then when you look at things like caste systems that allegedly don't exist, and other political things that certain societies have within them to create degrees of separation, a lot of them are alive and well. And this is why it's a bit weird when people have these half cultures where they understand very little of their own historic backgrounds and what's actually going on in the countries they believe they're attached to, yet may have never visited or actually gone into the politics behind them. Not saying it's a massive negative, but the fact is, it makes it very hypocritical, or the fact that their understanding information is so narrow, and often based on hate or deflection, that they haven't achieved what they want in life, so it must be somebody else's fault. But the advantage you've got when you go out and engage with lots of people, you understand it from all perspectives, and even like down the different food cuisines and everything else, just trying different things, and it just opens your eyes to everything. It's a very, very important skill, is having that ability to see outside of your day to day, which is like media talking from a single perspective. Whether it's a conflict, whether it's something's happened somewhere, or this whole drive with feminism, woke, and all the other bits that have angry individuals. These days I just go, well, why are they angry? What are they angry about? What caused them to be angry? And often it's not as a result of a single thing where their focus often comes from. It's often far more complex, but having that ability to step back a bit allows you to not get frustrated and annoyed about the stuff they get up to, because you're sort of going, well, doesn't even make any sense sometimes. And I suppose the last one, which is probably the most important, which ties all these together, is self-discovery. The advantage you get is, like I said, it's like even from your personal identity of who you are, what you are, how you are, you will go on a path that evolves and develops you, because you will become more independent. You will look at yourself in a much more in-depth way, because when you're on the day-to-day treadmill of life, of just going to work or whatever, everything's pre-planned until something goes wrong, like a divorce or somebody dies, and there are key defining moments that may jog you in a different direction. Traveling abroad and living abroad, you're doing that where it's partially in your control. And I say partially because things can go wrong. You can have typhoons, earthquakes, and lots of other interesting things along the way that can actually steer you towards a different environment. But you will find that your values develop, they evolve, they become more informed. The same as you start to have different goals in life. I mean, you look at the UK, what's the obsession? It's money. You know, it's money and what you got. Consumerism and bits of paper that are promissory notes. For me, my perspective is healthy family, and that extends to my wife's siblings, mother, father. The father's passed. Used to be my own family in the sense of my genetic family, should we say, because I'm very close with April's family. But the betrayal of my siblings and the demise of my parents, there is no family there anymore. And it's one of those things, is what's that, once bitten twice shy type thing. The stuff they did was just wrong. They were purely money driven, which for me, it disgusts me. Myself, my goals, very simple: finish paying the house, get us sustainable in Spain. Beyond that, can relax and enjoy life, travel more, experience more. It's not about money. It's about having the environment to just enjoy it. Doesn't need a massive house, doesn't need a brand new car or anything like that. All that superficial stuff has gone. Yeah, I get it. I've got a nice beach house, whatever, but it's nearly paid for. I'm not paying for it for the next 20 years. I expect this will be completely paid in less than 3. Because I worked harder before to stock the money up for it, so that's already gone to pasture in the sense of paid most of it off. So, I mean, my values are predominantly around family life. It's about good friendships. It's about helping others, playing it forward, because I think this is a much better way of life. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not always going to be easy. I've had some really hard times. You know, you can become lonely sometimes as well, because if you're self-reliant, you're often on your own. Now, don't get me wrong, you go, oh yeah, but you got a wife, and it says, yeah, but when I'm out in the Middle East for months, or when I go back to the UK and working, I'm on my own. At the same time, my wife's more like, come home, you don't need this crap anymore. But at the same time, you commit to your goals. My goal is this, it's done. Next goal is the exit. Now, what that looks like, it will change. It'll evolve. But you need to see that to understand your life and where you want to go, you need experience. Because if you're younger, you're probably not 100% what you want to study, what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to achieve. It starts to evolve when you start traveling, because you experience more, you travel more, you see more, you learn more. Your path will unfold itself. That's all I've got to say on the subject. Thanks for watching.